What's up with it?
Well, hello there.
Hello.
How are ya?
How are you?
Hello, everyone.
Hey,
Yeah.
what's going on? We got new faces in the place.
Yeah. Well,
New
one
folks
new
gather
face.
around the fire.
One new face.
One new face.
Just
One new face.
one new
gather
face.
around
One new
the fire.
face. Okay.
One new face.
Yeah. So
Just
we're
one
gonna
new
have some fun today. As y'all can see, we got a special guest,
Yes.
and she's coming with a wealth of information. That's why the title of this episode 186 is "Health is Wealth," because she's gonna be talking about some health stuff, but it's gonna make you wealthy, health wise, right? Because you can have all the money in the world, but if you're sick, it don't matter.
Don't matter.
It don't matter.
Now, Ken got a favorite saying where he says that we put the medicine in the candy.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
today we got some actual medicine for the candy today. So I mean, hey, here we go.
Yeah, somebody who actually knows what they're talking about. We talk, but we just talk because we heard or we read somewhere. But no, she actually knows. So if you have questions, jump in the chat, put your comment in there. If you got a good question, it might get selected, and we can make sure that we get it answered today, because we want you to be knowledgeable at the end of this episode, for sure.
Facts. And she went to school for this, y'all. She ain't just somebody, you know what I'm saying, we found off the streets. You know what I'm saying? Picked up somebody, you know what I'm saying, with a pretty face and said, hey, can you tell us about this? No, she actually
one
went
thing
to
is that I never got my certificate from Amazon, if that's what we're talking about.
No Amazon. She went to school for this, and we'll dive into how long it took her and when she started and all of that. But yeah, look at her name. Look at them words behind her name, man. She rocking. She rocking.
Yep. So y'all know how we do. Before we get started, we got to check on our people to make sure everybody's good. Before we get rolling. So our guest, Anna, tell us how you doing mentally, physically, more feeling today.
I'm doing well. I'm super excited. I believe that health is definitely wealth. A lot of people think all the way around, if I have the money, who cares about the health? But you have to be well mentally and physically to basically create wealth, right?
Right. Facts.
Indeed. Benji Banks, the man of brand. How you feeling today, my guy?
I'm good, man. Ain't got no complaints today. That's interesting though. When you go day by day after day and you really don't have any complaints about, anything pressing. We got, American problems, you know what I'm saying? Eggs is $12, you know what I'm saying? A bottle of water on the airplane costs you like $6-7, you get what I'm saying? But ain't nobody cracked their head or, my dog didn't die last night or nothing like that. I'm good, so no problems, I'm straight.
Yeah. And one thing I've learned, man, is take it one day at a time. We were growing up, you used to hear people say that all the time, but now it means something, right? As you learn that you can't worry about what happened yesterday and you can't predict what you're going to do tomorrow, what's going to happen tomorrow. Only thing you can do is focus on the now. Focus on what you can plan for that stuff. But like I tell people all the time, and I tell my kids, worrying about tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, worrying about it is going to cause you anxiety. You can't do anything about it.
That's fact.
Just enjoy the day.
You're going to have to go to the doctor. So, yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure she has some solutions that can keep you healthy along the way, because preventative medicine is the best medicine, right? You don't always have to wait till your body breaks down to go see a doctor. You can go see a doctor so they can help you remain healthy on a day-to-day basis. So that's a misnomer with most people, is they don't want to go see a doctor until something's wrong.
Well,
Hmm.
folks don't like to listen about their health. You know what I mean? We best be trucking along and believing all is well. But that could be something underlining. The silent killer. What is it? What do you call it? Blood pressure is called the silent killer.
Blood pressure, but you know that cancer now is called also the silent killer.
Mm-hmm.
People don't go to the doctors, and boom, all of a sudden they get something, they get sick, and we find cancer. So never know.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a tough one. So we're gonna talk. We're gonna dive into that because I know there's some preventative stuff. Especially for us men. We got to do better.
Yeah, definitely. And as we are getting older, we talk about that pretty regularly because people who watch the show, they understand. I'll be 45 in a few days.
Mm.
Benji is, an unknown, unnamed age. I'll let him tell how old he is. He's older than me. I'll tell you that.
The
Uh,
brother be 47, but that's later down the year. That's later down. That's in October, the late, what I'm saying? We'll be 47, So, I mean, hey, we're fortunate though, Ken. We know
yes.
some kids our age that don't look like, they 47, what I'm saying? Look like they about 65, 70
Well,
around the neck and the eye area.
but the biggest thing is like we were just talking about. Guys our age, especially black guys,
Right.
what I'm saying, are known for just saying, I'm not messing with that doctor, I'm not going to that doctor, I'm not getting, these checkups. And they're necessary, man. What I'm saying? Going to get your annual physical, going to get, what I'm saying, your colonoscopies and all that stuff. I know that's not stuff that people want to talk about, but it's very necessary, especially as you get older. Like, you have to do these things. So, again, preventative medicine. Remember that, preventative medicine. You don't always want to go to the doctor because something's wrong. If you got a car, I tell the people this all the time. If you got a car and you only take your car to the dealership when something's wrong, and you don't take it to get the oil changed, and you don't take it to get these preventative things done, eventually that car probably gonna break down prematurely. And it's the same thing with your body. Same way.
Facts. Facts. Facts.
All right. So before we get too far gone, we need to allow Anna to introduce herself, tell you a little bit more about her background, where she's from, how she got started where she is, and tell you a little bit about her business, of course. So Anna, if you could tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
So I'm Anna, and I am originally from Dominican Republic. I came here back in 1995 when I was 16 years old, 15, 16 years old. I'm not going to tell my real age, but
Never, woman never tells her real age. All right,
no.
right, right.
So at that time, I come from a large family where most of my family members are doctors and nurses. My mom was a nurse, my dad was a doctor. So it was obvious that based on my dad's genes, I wanted to be a doctor. However, I was very limited with the English. So, when it was time for me to go to college, me trying to be a doctor was just not as easy with the language barrier. So the most easiest thing was for me to be a nurse.
Mm-hmm.
So I married my husband of 25 years now, and he's a nurse. Go figure.
Hmm.
So he encouraged me to get into the licensed practical nurse program, which was just 12 months. And that's how I started. And at first I thought, oh, this is just going to be just a stepping stone that I need to go through so I can get into medical school. So once I became a nurse, I started loving it. I started loving the bedside care. And I figured, hey, why not just proceed and become a registered nurse? And then I did that. And after that, I was like, well, now I want to be involved in patient care fully. And I want to teach people how to take care of themselves. I want to be on that other end of where I need to make decisions for them. And that's how I became a nurse practitioner. So I have been a nurse for over 20 years, and I've been a nurse practitioner for 6 years now. I am currently a master's in science of nursing, and I am specialized in adult gerontology, primary care nurse practitioner, which means I take care of everybody that is 13 years of age and above. I don't see babies. I don't see kids. I don't like them. I really, so I have a passion for more of the adult and the older clients that that needs it. I see a big need of people needing to be educated in regards to their health, and based on that, COVID, we went through COVID, and as you know, a lot of my elderly died. A lot of other people that had other health issues died during COVID time. So at that time, I started realizing that those that were strong, had a strong immune system, were actually doing something different than those that were dying all of a sudden, that never had any issues before. And I started researching about it and realized that many of these people were taking a lot of preventive medicine on the side, which is now called functional medicine, where people were basically utilizing IV hydration services to boost their immune system up. Some of them were increasing their testosterone just to make sure that their defenses weren't going down. And this is how I got into this business of wanting to make sure that everybody was aware that things can be prevented way ahead of time.
Oh man, that's awesome. I'm sitting here thinking like, gosh, where do we start in terms of our first question? Because there's a lot there. Talk to us about your transition from Dominican Republic to the United States. How did that go? How was that at such a young age? How was that at that moment? If you can relate to that.
Um, it was a culture shock for real, because I come from a place where I'm the 14th child, spoiled to death
Oh wow.
in my country. Of course, wherever one person ate, 13 others were eating at the same
Hmm.
time. So I was always being left with a little bit of, pieces of chicken, and most of the time I was eating my rice first, and then my brother would steal my chicken. So I had no chicken. Uh, uh, you know, Going from that to having this whole life already built for me, and this whole roadmap from my own father, saying you're going to be a doctor, this is how we're going to do this, to all of a sudden being dropped here in the United States.
Right.
uh, my mom married into the military, and going to a place where I had no friends, I had
Mm.
no brothers, I had no sisters, I had no one to talk to. The food was different, the language was different. Now the need for me was to learn English. I didn't have any time to really enjoy myself, or go out and meet people. My priority was not to have friends at school. My priority was always, I need to learn English so I can, go to school and be a doctor. So that was a very hard transition there. And, you know, I remember the first thing that I learned to say at school was, I need to go to the bathroom, because
Right.
that
Right.
that was a necessity. But the school I was in, many of the teachers, there was no one that spoke Spanish like me. So they stuck me with the Spanish teacher. And she had a very distinct accent. She learned from the Mexicans. And here I am, a girl that came from a very tiny town in Dominican Republic, never left her town, never heard any other accent. And she would say certain words to me, and it would be offensive to me. And I'm like, what are you trying to say? So it was a very hard road for me. But then we got stationed in Fort Meade, Maryland, and that's when I finally, was able to learn English. And then, of course, I married my husband, who is American, and he always corrected me on a lot of sentences and a lot of words, and that really, really helped me. But it was a hard transition.
Well, that's interesting because it's funny because when I came from Texas to California, my accent was strong, and I used to get messed with all the time. Like, boy, it ain't Earl, it's ear. So I can only imagine what you were dealing with, because I still remember that to this day. I had the strongest country accent. So, but obviously you navigated through all of that, and I'm sure
Mhm.
a large portion of that is due to the people that were surrounding you.
Yes. So, and that's one thing that I always say. Like my mother is been here longer than me, and she still can speak English.
Mhm.
The fully. So for me, what really made me really good at English was marrying someone that didn't speak Spanish. And then him being military too, we were always in areas where Hispanic people were not predominantly in that area. So I was always learning more and more English and was submerged into that culture and everything. So, but for my mom, she's surrounded by people that speaks nothing but Spanish, and so that can hinder someone from really learning it.
Hmm.
I think that's an interesting thing that you point out too, because I think a lot of people who don't know Spanish, they just think it's just one Spanish, and they don't understand that there are a few different ways that you can say things, and it just depends on where you originated from. So not everybody speaks the same way.
Right.
No, I mean, I went to Colombia and to the country to visit. And yes, we understand Spanish, we understand each other, but there's a lot of words, a lot of things that you still have to be careful. And it's like, okay, what are you trying to say? Like they say tennis shoes very different than the way we say tennis shoes. So
Hmm.
the way they say it is actually for us like sandals. Okay,
Mm.
so we say sandals, and for them, sandals is tennis shoes. So it's just a lot of little words that is not the same, and sometimes even the accent too can make you say, "Can you say that again?" You know. So
So with
Trust
that,
me, we understand that because
right,
I'm not in California. I'm in Dallas, Texas. So I know when I go other places, like in the past maybe year or so, I've been to New York, I've been to Boston. So when I go to these places, they say you're from Texas, aren't you? Right away, I'm like, yep.
right. They notice the accent. That is for
Yep.
sure. They know you're
They,
not a native out here.
exactly.
yeah.
So when you got into the military aspect of it, how did the military part, how did that help you in your journey, of course, getting to being a doctor? How did the military aspect help you out?
So my husband was active duty military for 25 years almost. And, you know, in the military, being a military spouse is really a very diverse place to be, because you have people from all over the country. You have a lot of people that are, speak different languages and stuff. And that basically helped me a lot because I had people that spoke Spanish, but had, English speaking husbands.
Right.
So that definitely, we built a little community where we all went to church, yes, but everybody was trying to learn how to speak proper English. So our concern was more of, let's speak proper English because our husbands are doing this. And, at that time they were being deployed to Iraq, Afghanistan, and we were by ourselves. So we had to deal with going to the school and talk for the kids. We had to deal with taking them to the doctor. So that really, really helped. And then, of course, my husband, while he was deployed, um, I couldn't really work. As a nurse, you have to do 12-hour shifts most of the time. Um, as a military spouse, when your husband is gone, you are it for your kids. So if my kids were sick, I couldn't just drop everything that I was doing with a patient and say, I'm gone, because then that would be considered like a patient abandonment. So at that point he said, look, we can't, you can't do this while I'm gone. How about if you just go to school full time, and then just deal with the kids that way? And that's what I did while he was active duty. He was gone. I would go to school for like 7 years or so. Went to school and became a nurse practitioner. So
Gosh, 7 years. So she put in the time and she put it in. And so that's kind of the spot where we get to now, where you did your schooling. Now, 7 years is a long time.
Yeah.
Were there any points in there where you were like, you know what, I am not feeling this? Or was it just go, 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 go all the time?
So it was go, go, go all the time for me, especially for, I was doing it more for my kids than for me. I mean, we had three kids, back to back to back. My husband was gone. I didn't know whether he was coming back. I mean, now it's easier for people to communicate with those that deploy. Back then, I had to wait for an email.
Mm,
For an email from him, and maybe once a month he will call me all of the sudden in the middle of the night and say, hey, I'm somewhere, I'm just calling to say hello. There are 20 people in the line waiting to call their spouse, so just calling to say hello, I'm okay. And that was it. So at that time, I had to deal with the stress, I had to deal with depression, I had to deal with seeing my kids every day. My son used to cry every night to sleep because he wanted his dad.
is that right?
So we didn't know, whether my husband was coming back or not. So at that point, I said, if I was, and I always say this every time I wanted to quit, I said, if my husband is to die today, what is going to happen to me and my kids? I mean, we didn't have a house. We didn't have we didn't have the savings that we needed. There was a lot of things we didn't have. So at that time, I said to myself, I had to keep pushing because my kids only have me at this time, and there were many years that he was gone, and that's all they had. They just had me. So I always put that in my head. What if something is to happen to him? And what are we going to do? So that's what pushed me.
Shout out to him. Let's just take a moment. Shout out to him. Shout out to military personnel and for their sacrifice that they put forth. And so, shout out to them. And as always, a salute to their space that they are in.
Thank you.
Yeah, because I mean, as we got some comments, we got some comments here, and one comment said military spouses are not for the weak. And I've heard that so many times. And salute to everybody that's involved with the military at any capacity. Thank you for your service, because without you, people take for granted the liberties that we have and the freedom that we have, and it's because of our armed forces and the people that serve that we can do the things that we do on a day-to-day basis and don't really have to really worry about things like that. So
Yeah.
shout
And
out to,
a lot of people look at military spouses and they say, oh, they have it all because you get free housing, you get, this allowance, you get all of this stuff. But what they don't know is that when our husbands, or wives are out there, if they get killed, we get thrown out. We will end up without housing. We will end up without a lot of things. And the ones that really suffer is your kids. So that's something that always hang behind my head, especially when he was gone. I always said, what if today's the day? And then you have no one to really tell you until they're being shipped back to you in a box. And
Wow.
yeah, and that's sad. So just think about walking every day thinking, is today going to be the day that they're going to call me and let me know my spouse is gone? So
And that, I'm sure that's very challenging. I have a lot of military friends, and their stories are very similar. So to hear it from you again, and the fact that you pushed through and endured and made it to this particular point, I'm sure there was some ups and downs along the way, but to make it to this point, we also have to salute you for your mental fortitude for getting to the spot that you wanted to get to.
yeah, thank you.
yeah. So I mean, I think the next question that I had in mind, you went to school, you did those things, and then you started working. But the transition from you working as a nurse and then going into your business, like how did you even think about or first formulate the thought of opening your own business and then the type of business that you opened?
I think that the people you surround yourself is important. So I had this nurse, wonderful nurse. I want to say, she actually gives me a little emotional and stuff. You know, some people believe so much in you that sometimes you don't believe in yourself. And this nurse was the nurse that really say, hey, I think you should do this. I think you need to open up because you love to help people. You love to talk. You love to educate. And I think that you should really, really open up your own business. Of course, the idea was very fun at first, right?
Right,
and
right.
then it came with all of this. Well, how do I do this? And so she helped me a lot. Her name is Misha. She is awesome. She's not my nurse anymore, but she will always be my nurse. So I think that it takes one person to point out your strength, even though you don't believe in yourself. Because I didn't believe I could do it. At the beginning, I was like, me? Really? Like, I'm not a business person. And, when we go through nursing school, they never, ever, ever teach us business side. Never. That's they only teach you to take care of people. So that's what you're supposed to do. So the other side of business, that's never taught in any nursing school, which is sad. So when I wanted to go into business, I had to do a lot of research. I had to really dig down, dig down to see what it is that I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to help people, but I just didn't know in what way.
Okay.
Now we have now our nurse of the show is officially on today. So shout out to Patricia for being
Okay.
with us.
I'm here. Sorry I'm late, but hi, and nice to meet you officially on the live.
Thank you. Nice meeting you.
How are you guys doing? Everybody good?
Yeah,
Yes,
we
indeed.
solid. We in there. We in there.
All right.
All right. Go
Go
ahead,
ahead,
King.
Ben. No, go ahead, Benji.
And so now you're at this space where you are officially a nurse, you're officially handling your business. What are the steps that you're taking now? What are you learning now at this space? Because I know as you're going through, there's new advice, there's new this, there's new that coming at you. What was those transitions like? I want my business, I'm a nurse, but now I got to have my business. What was that transition like?
Uh, it was like me being dropped here from my country all over again.
Mm,
It was foreign to me. I mean, again, they don't teach you business at school. They only teach you to take care of of people. So it's very different. At first, I had many voices, many other people that didn't have businesses advise me, and I was trying to follow those advice, and I lost a lot of money. Okay.
mm,
So at the very first year was, I will say I could say it was a disaster because I lost a lot, but it was just also a learning experience. During my second year, I lost a lot of friends. My first year, I
mm,
had everybody telling me, "Oh yeah, this is good for you." The second year was more of my circle needs to get smaller because I need to stop listening to those that were advising me wrong. I went through a change. I had to change my business name. I had to change the structure. I had to start mingling with people that knew business. I had to start doing a lot of the business research. I went through the business, I went to community colleges just to learn a little bit more about business and stuff, the business side of my business. And then at the same time, I started obtaining a lot of certifications and basically training myself and educating myself on the variety of services that I wanted to provide. Now, during my third year, which was last year to this year, I can tell you I am now more into networking. And that was something that I didn't do from the beginning. And I have met some wonderful people during networking that I wish I would have started networking from the beginning because you never know who you're going to meet, and you never know the advices that other people may give you that are already successful in a business. And putting yourself in a room of people that are making 500,000 to a million is way different than you putting yourself in people that are starting a business. It's completely different because their knowledge is just, and it's awesome when they're willing to share that during a network event and stuff like that. So now we're doing better than we were from the beginning.
Right,
Okay.
right. I can imagine that. Yeah.
Yes.
So let me ask you this, so we can make sure that we cover this for the audience. You are the CEO of ZenDrips and Wellness. What is ZenDrips and Wellness? What do you do there?
So Zen Drips and Wellness came, this idea that I had that when I go to a place, a lot of people know like the Drip Bar or the Prime IV. These are places that give you like IV hydrations, which is, vitamin drips. When I go to one of those places, there is something that I always wanted to feel, and I could never feel. And that is, when you're trying to nourish your body, you're trying to really have that time for you, take care of you, and know that you're going to come out of there better than when you went in. So the idea of going in to nourish your inside so your outside can look good. I felt like I wanted to be in a Zen place
Mm.
where tranquility happens mentally and also flows internally. So Zen drips. That's the idea. That's how I got the idea. Because when people come to my space, I turn off the lights. Everything. Cell phone is off. Everything is off. I want you to just become one in your mind and with your body. Just let your cells hydrate. Just let yourself go from the basically from the busy life that people have. So Zen drips, and then of course the wellness part. I also educate everybody that comes through the door about preventive medicines and things that they can do to improve their health.
Now, see, when you said earlier, you said something along the lines when we asked how you got into it. You said it felt like you was dropped back into, that space when you were young again. But did that fuel you also? Because I know for me, when I feel those moments, I feel like I overcame that. So I know I can do this again. Did you ever get that feeling at any point in time?
Yes. So when I said, I felt like I was dropped again here, it's like because I was dropped into a unfamiliar environment. I was dropped into an area that I wasn't comfortable. So I wanted to, in order for me to grow in the business, I had to love being uncomfortable.
Mm.
And it was just learning all over again. I already knew One Piece, just like when I was dropped here in the United States. I already knew that I had to learn English. Okay. So in my business now, I already knew how to take care of people. I just didn't know to to make sure that they pay me for my time and for the treatments so we can have a harmonious relationship. So I was missing the part of the business. So I wasn't missing the part of taking care of people. I already knew that. So that's why I felt, a little bit off when I was basically starting my business. I felt like I was in a strange land and I didn't know how to do it.
Right, right.
They teach us as nurses, you will never charge a patient, right? Because the hospital always gets the money and the hospital pays you. You're in a nursing home, you're not going to tell someone, hey, I need $300 for me just changing your diaper, right?
Right, right.
So, but in the business sense, for whatever services you do, whatever time you spend with someone, you have to be compensated because that is your time, that is your energy. They're looking for you because you're certified, you went through the training, and you can guide them. So it's kind of difficult asking people for money for something
Right.
for free all the time, right?
All
So
right, we have one question from YouTube in the audience. Michael Lampkin, shout out to my boy Mike. He said, does it help lose? Does it help you with weight loss like the ZenDrips?
yes. So ZenDrips and Wellness is not only a drips um, business. So ZenDrips is just one part of my business. Um, the model of my business is to make people well. I want them to be healthy. I don't want to manage diseases. I hated it. I worked in GI, I worked in cardiology, and all we did was manage diseases instead of preventing. So when I said about managing, people already come with hypertension, they already come with gastritis, they already come with all of these issues that could have been prevented by either losing weight, hydrating themselves better, improve optimizing their hormones. It's a lot of things that we do not do to take care of ourselves that can prevent us from getting to the point of now I have to manage medicines and stuff. So the wellness part of my business deals with weight loss. Yes, there are drips that we have drips called IV lean, which definitely gives you a concussion in there to help you burn fat. That does not mean you will lose weight with it. It just means that if you are already on a journey of losing weight, that this can support your metabolism by helping you burn more calories. So I do the medical weight loss. I do the semaglutide, the tirzepatide, Wegovy, Ozempic, those things, which there's a lot of miscommunication about those two. But I think that weight loss is the key to turn your health into basically wealth. And a lot of people don't understand that. Weight, if you're obese, if you're overweight, which the majority of Americans are, that can lead to high cholesterol, which can then lead to your arteries in your heart getting hardening, and then you getting coronary artery disease. That can also lead to you having worsening acid reflux, which can then lead to ulcers like gastric ulcers, which can then lead to ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease. It's a lot of things associated with obesity. So if you don't lose weight and you don't change your way of eating, then all of these other situations are gonna basically hinder you in the future.
Ooh, get that weight up off you.
Okay, so before we move on from that, you mentioned something that we got to talk about because this is the hot topic. You talked about the Ozempic, the
Ozempic.
semaglutide,
Right,
those
right.
things.
I knew you
Like,
was coming.
yeah, can you talk about that because that is the big
Talk
topic
about the
all over the place.
misconceptions
Yes.
and all
Right.
of the things that people have come to believe in regard to Ozempic and those medications.
So I'm a TikToker. Okay. I love TikTok.
Okay.
However, I can sit here and tell you that every time I flip, especially between 9 and 11 o'clock at night, okay, I see all of these people promoting, semaglutide, Ozempic, whatever. And they have millions of followers, whatever, and they're trying to sell something, which kudos to them. However, people are not really educated about the differences of these medicines. Okay. A lot of people say, oh, that Ozempic is what I'm on for weight loss, but you're not diabetic.
Hmm.
So let's bring this up. Ozempic and Mounjaro are only for type 2 diabetics. Okay. Zepbound, which is the newest version of Mounjaro, and Wegovy is only for weight loss. So everybody that has a BMI greater than 30 can qualify for Wegovy and Zepbound as long as they don't have type 2 diabetes. Everybody that has a BMI greater than 27, they must also have another condition like hypertension, coronary artery disease, in order for their insurance to qualify them for Wegovy or Zepbound. Okay. Why? Because most likely BMI of 27, if you exercise, if you change your diet, you can lose that. Okay. We're talking about people that are 30 with a BMI of 30 and above. Now, when we talk about Mounjaro and Ozempic, you have to be type 2 diabetic. No exceptions. We don't care about your BMI. You can have a BMI of 27, 25, but you have to be diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. What does the diagnosis of type 2 diabetes seems like? It is not pre-diabetic, which a lot of people think, because they come to me and they say, hey, Anna, you know, my doctor say I'm pre-diabetic. My A1C is 5.9. That does not qualify you for type 2 diabetic. Okay. For you to be type 2 diabetic, your A1C has to be greater than 6.4. Now, for many insurance companies, your A1C has to be greater than 7 for them to qualify you for these medicines, which is something that people are very confused about, because they say, well, I'm pre-diabetic, I'm taking metformin. We don't care. Your A1C has to be 7 and above, okay, for you to get these medicines. They confuse Ozempic with Wegovy. Why? Because they're both semaglutides, okay? They both GLP-1 medication, but they're used for different conditions. And that's what I want people to understand. If you want weight loss, W for weight loss is Wegovy. If you want medication for your type 2 diabetic, then is the O1, the Ozempic, you know. Then Mounjaro is also for type 2 diabetic, and it has better results than the Ozempic and Wegovy. And the reason being is because it's a GLP-2 medication. It deals with two different receptors. So it helps you lose weight faster. However, that is only for type 2 diabetics. So what was happening was in November of last year that they were using Mounjaro for weight loss. So Lilly company decided, hey, we don't want our diabetics to be without their medicines. How about if we just make another medication just like Wegovy? So that's where the Zepbound came from. And Zepbound is only strictly used for weight loss. Okay. Now, many of the wellness clinics, which are the ones that normally promotes on TikTok, you know, and Instagram and all of those, they do compounded medications. They do not do the real Wegovy, the real Ozempic, the real Mounjaro, or Zepbound. Okay, they do compounded medications. However, many of them mislead people by showing the pens of Wegovy or Zepbound, and people think that that's what they're going to be getting, and that is not. So you're getting a watered down product that is mixed in with, some of them are mixed in with B12 vitamins. Others are mixed in with L-carnitine, which is a fat burner. And, you know, these medicines come in a vial, and you have to pull the medicine out of the vial and inject it yourself. So I want people to be made aware that TikTok may not be a platform. YouTube, any of these other platforms may not be the platform for you to get these medicines. Okay.
Right.
Because you never know what you're getting.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's interesting because you're essentially, people are kind of playing with the results, so to speak, when you don't kind of do the follow-up and do the proper groundwork to make sure you're being, you know, taken care of. You know, misinformation is just as bad as getting just anything. So yeah, that sounds like you're playing Russian roulette to a degree.
Well, I mean, if you notice, like, for example, like all of us try to be lazy and not go to Full Line, let's say, or not go to a grocery store, right? So we're gonna go to that app that you can just order your groceries through. If you notice, most of the time when someone is picking up the items for you, let's say butter, a certain brand, you want a certain brand of butter. That person's going to send you a text saying, hey, this is the store brand that we have versus what you really want. So by the time you get that and you go and make your let's say your bagel and you put that butter in there and you're like, this tastes nasty.
Right. They done gave you some margarine instead of some actual butter, huh?
Yes. So just think about that. You don't want your health. You don't want to get medicine from people that you don't know their faces. You don't know who is backing them up. And these people don't care about your health. So you can have different conditions like pancreatitis. You can have gastroparesis. You can have many other conditions. And they're not going to know because all they care about is just selling you a product. Okay. But if you want something that's quality, you want to know, okay, I want to know, number one, can I come to your office and see if it's a real office? Number two, I want to see what certifications you have. Are you certified to do this? And number three, where are you getting your medicines from? What pharmacy? Because if I get a reaction, I want to know who I need to go and claim this to. Many people come to me and they don't even know where the vial came from. It's just a simple vial with a little sticker that is placed in there, and it tells you it's semaglutide. I don't know that. You don't know that. And you're coming to me and you're saying you're getting a reaction, and I'm asking, where is this vial coming from? What pharmacy? And you can't tell me. So that's very scary. A lot of people are doing scary things. So I know you're in Dallas, Texas. There was a lady out there that they just seized, I think, 130 vials of unknown substance that she was selling as terzepatide and semaglutide. And she was just taping it. She was mixing it in at home and she was giving it to the wellness centers.
Oh my God.
Those stories are, I post them all the time on Facebook for people to see, where we're getting all these stories done. You got to be careful when dealing with your health. You don't want something that can hinder your health later on.
Not only that, they're not even supposed to take Ozempic like that, and it's a taper to go up and down, off on. You can't just start it at the highest and just drop it. So they don't even know that, and they're just whatever they want to take. They're just taking it, not the proper dosage, not the proper way to come off of it, and with whatever existing conditions that it's not supposed to mix with, and then you don't even know what's really in the vial. Insane.
Yeah, I mean, there are people that I have had patients that have come to me with syringes that are filled already. And I'm like, do you know that the medicine, the way they compound this medicine is supposed to be in a vial, in a dark vial, to make sure that whatever they compound it with, it doesn't break. Okay. So if you pull that in a syringe and you leave it in a syringe and you put it in a refrigerator, you don't even know if that's going to cause you any reaction later on, because the medication strength is definitely not there. So you don't even know what strength you're injecting yourself with.
Wow.
Not only that, you don't even know if the syringe now at that point has been tampered with. So as far as making sure that it's a clean syringe that someone else had already put the medication into, that now you have to place into yourself. The trust is insane.
Yes. Well, all of that is going to stop because the FDA now has a court rule that all compounding pharmacies must cease and desist the making of semaglutide and tirzepatide. 503A pharmacies, they're supposed to stop the production of this by March 19th. And 503B pharmacies are supposed to stop the production by May 19th. So there will be no more semaglutide or tirzepatide. So people actually going to have to go to their primary care provider, ask for these prescriptions, or they're going to have to, now that they have lost the weight, they're going to have to actually exercise and get into another program.
That's actually really dope, because that was going to lead into my question of how do you as a doctor um, handle those preventative measures with your clients? I'm sure part of it is education, but how does your process work? How are you going back and forth with your clients and trying to explain them all of this information?
Well, it's a lot of education. I have to be, as a provider, you have to be able to answer many of the concerns that your clients have. My clients have many concerns. I was responding to many of them. They just want to hear it for someone that can tell them everything is going to be okay. There are other solutions. We have peptides. Okay. Peptides are like the human growth hormone that we used to inject ourselves before for weight loss. They have pills. They have hormone optimization that you can do, but we can only do so much. You have to go out there and walk, and you have to run, and you have to exercise. I'm not telling my clients that they have to go and sign up for a gym. I'm just telling them the way you were eating, which is small portions, just continue that. But I need you to increase your walk. If you used to walk 2 times per week, now do it 5 times per week. You have to do things to help yourself. There's many other reasons as to why people gain weight, and you have to look at their conditions too, which is something that is not looked at when we're talking about some of these platforms. They don't look at you whether you have whether you're on steroids, whether you are having any autoimmune disorder that could cause you or prevent you from losing any weight. I have a lot of females with something called PCOS, which is a polycystic ovarian syndrome. They are very difficult to lose weight. Hormones plays another part. I had my males that were stuck at a certain weight, and the moment we replaced hormones, the moment they started losing weight like it was nothing. So it's a lot of things that go into weight gain, weight loss. And another thing is the food that we eat. So if you're going to keep having a pantry full of sugars and carbohydrates, you're not going to lose weight. You have to be able to change. Medicine is just temporary. We give you the medicine. Yes, you're going to lose weight, but now that the medicine is going to be taken completely out, what are you going to do? What have you learned to do during that time?
And that's important because even me personally, my body was reacting very, very, very crazy to sugar. And so I'm a cold turkey kind of guy. Like if it starts messing with me, I cut it out. And so I noticed after the months and months of not putting so much sugar in my body from sodas. Oh, Lord knows I love me a lemon cake. Oh, Lord, I love it. But when I started taking those out, I started to notice that my mucus went down. My brain fog went down. I'm thinking clearer, and I started to notice all of those. Would you say that a lot of people just aren't paying attention to their bodies? That they're just it's just free for all, just go 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 go? Would you say that's one of the biggest problems many of us have today?
Yes, we're not paying attention. I myself included. We're not paying attention to what our bodies is telling us. For example, you may notice from time to time when you overeat, you may start having like mucus coming down.
Mhm.
Okay, you may start having like snubs, and you're like, what's going on? Like, this might be too spicy. No, it's your body probably telling you that enough is enough. So we have inflammatory markers in our bodies that let us know. For example, your belly gets bloated. Why? And sometimes people say, I look like I'm 6 months pregnant. But they won't stop eating bread. They won't stop eating spaghettis. They won't stop drinking the beer, you know, but you're getting bloated. Well, we have meat allergies, you know. A lot of people have walking around with meat allergies. And if you don't get tested for something called alpha gal, which is through your blood, you would not know that you have meat allergies. So every time you eat meat, and you eat it with whatever other carbohydrates or sugars, you think it was the carbohydrates or sugars that made your stomach bloat and stuff, and now you can't walk around because you're so full. And normally it's because you have meat allergies. A lot of people walking around with celiac disease, which is gluten intolerance. So we have to pay attention to our bodies. There is a condition called irritable bowel syndrome, for
Mm.
example. Okay. A lot of people say, I don't know why I'm having diarrhea all the time. Every time I eat, I'm having diarrhea. What are you eating? You know, your body's telling you that whatever you're eating is bad for you. Your body's also telling you that if you're under a lot of stress, if you are under a lot of emotional stress, guess what? Your body's going to react that way. So, you know, these are conditions that can be prevented, can be fixed, but you have to pay attention to your body. Even with the water, if you're not peeing enough, you're probably not drinking enough. And if
Mm-hmm.
you're not drinking enough, you're exposed to urinary tract infections. You're also leaving your kidneys hot and hanging. So now your kidneys may suffer later on in life because of that. So it's a lot of things that goes into that. Even for males, you know, you don't have a you know, you're having sex with your lady or whatever, you know, and you're
You're
not
having
drinking enough
troubles.
water. You're not drinking enough water. Guess what? You're probably not gonna have a lot coming out. Okay, so I'm just giving.
Uh-oh. And no, those are facts. So let's kind of get into the wellness part of it now, because we know that there's all types of things out there, right? That our bodies could be, experiencing. When we're talking about the low testosterone of men, what are some of the reasons why men are having low testosterone? Is it just because we turned 45, or what could it be? What is the issue there?
So one of the biggest misconception of testosterone for males is that this is something that happens after age 45 or after age 50. I have had people say, oh, this is, you know, this is after 50. No, I've seen a lot of people age 25 and older, okay, starting at age 25, where the testosterone level has significantly decreased. Okay, so the way I like to explain this to my patients is when you're a teenager, your testosterone levels most likely is in the 1300 to 1400. Okay, however, as you age, because you burn up, you either gain weight, because gaining weight will decrease your testosterone. You know, you're either not eating healthy, you're not sleeping well. All those things can cause, especially radicals too, that's in the air. A lot of those things can cause your testosterone level to go down. Okay, so I'm seeing people that are younger with lower testosterone than I ever want to see.
Hmm.
So if your testosterone level is supposed to be 1300, 1400, and now you're 25 years old, you only 5 years after your teenage years, and now your testosterone level is 500, then I can imagine that by age 30 or 35, your testosterone level is already in the 200s. Okay.
Hmm.
Now at that point, men start feeling fatigue. They can't sleep at night, or they can't stay at sleep. Okay. They're feeling tired. They're not feeling motivated. Okay. And they're gaining weight around their belly. So it's like, you know, the libido life is going down. They start having issues. And one of the main things is, you know, men start having issues with their significant other, and they start arguing a lot. But it's not that there's a problem there, is that as a male, you don't want your female partner to know that there is a problem
Hmm.
because you're not admitting it. Okay. So the male it has this alpha personality of, you know, I'm supposed to be the provider, right? I'm supposed to be the man that does all of these things. I'm strong, you know, my woman depends on me. But when it comes to having low libido, the men start having the excuse of, I'm tired, I'm working too hard, I'm under a lot of stress, you know, I'm not sleeping well, or whatever it is, whatever the case may be. And they brush that off. And then by the time they get to their 40s, they are either divorced, they're having issues, they're on the brink of not having a relationship because they don't want it. They only want it when they want it once a month, once or twice a month. While their female partner is like, I want this every week.
Every week, right? Every night.
Or every night, right? But then the man gets this, well, I'm under a lot of stress. Okay. And they never go and tell the provider, hey, can you test my testosterone? The provider will never test your testosterone unless you ask them to. Okay. So this is not something that we will automatically do for you. You have to go and be educated about it and talk to your primary care provider and say, hey, I'm fatigued, I'm tired, I can't sleep, my sex drive is gone or is going down. Don't let them push you off with, let's give you Viagra. Let's give you a little pill and maybe that will help.
Gas station pills, huh?
They quick to give you a pill for anything.
Anything. Give you a pill, you know. Another famous thing is maybe you have sleep apnea. Maybe that's why you're not sleeping well, you know. So you have to go to your primary care provider, being educated about your own health and advocate for your health and say, hey, I want my testosterone to be checked. And you will be surprised. So let's say they check your testosterone. Anything above 200, 250, according to their guidelines, is normal. Okay. But you're feeling crappy. You're still feeling like you can't do anything. You're like, well, I must be going crazy. So the next thing that they will tell you is, well, maybe you're depressed. Let's give you a pill for depression. You know, you have anxiety. Let's give you a pill for anxiety. Let's give you Ambien for sleep. So now you are on 5 different medicines, one for sleep, anxiety, depression, all of these pills. And now, you know, you're like, my libido is still low. I still don't feel rested. I'm still like, I'm not motivated.
And you still ain't getting with your lady?
Oh. Exactly. So that's where we come from in functional medicine, where we look at your numbers and we said, okay, your testosterone level is 250, 300. We're not going to doubt that this is probably normal, but based on your symptoms, we need to treat your testosterone. We need to bring your testosterone as close as possible as to the testosterone you used to have when you were a teenager. Remember when you were a teenager, you used to eat everything and never gain a pound. You were strong. You used to sleep 12 and 24 hours sometimes. You know, so you want to feel like that. So a lot of people, when you give them the testosterone booster, they start to think clear. Now their mental fog is gone. Okay. They start to sleep like a baby again. They feel motivated. They start losing weight without them doing anything. So that is something that really inspires me to just really educate my males that you need to tell your primary care provider that these are things that are happening and that you need those testosterone to be checked.
Now the IV drip helps with this, correct?
Yes. So what the IV drips is, a lot of people are not educated about what IV drips are. They think it's just a bag full of vitamins, and you do. I've heard this saying of, oh, I'm just going to have expensive pee, right? Well, I mean that's what people call it. You're just going to have expensive pee. Well, to tell you the truth, when you take all these supplements orally, that basically bypasses your GI system. It doesn't really absorb into your body. Maybe 1 or 2 things will absorb slowly into your system, right? But when you're doing the IV drips, you are placing multiple vitamins to be absorbed all over your cells, your body. It will, your stomach, your small intestine, everything. So you are really soaking in all of those vitamins that can help with, to balance out everything that you're missing.
So what about, because I know there's the women listening and they're like, okay, I'm tired. I don't want it like that. I can't, like, what about me? What am I missing? So
So,
what about
believe it or not, a lot of females don't think they have testosterone. That is something that I have encountered in my practice lately. That females say, well, my primary care provider tested all of my hormones and everything is normal. So what is wrong with me? I'm crazy. I feel like I'm going crazy. I'm feel unmotivated. I'm not sleeping. I'm tired. I'm irritable. My husband sits there and he chews something the wrong way. And I'm like, what you chewing that? You know, so females do have testosterone. Okay. And we do testosterone testing for them just to find out that most of their estrogen and testosterone have also been depleted. You had kids, you're dealing with a lot stress in your life, those things will deplete out. So for those, what I normally do is I do the whole full blood panel to include testosterone. If their testosterone level is less than 10, which for us is, normal is above 10. If it's less than 10 and they're having those symptoms, I normally recommend bioidentical hormone replacement, which is the pellets. It's called pellets, okay? But these bioidentical hormone replacements, you implant them in the hip for females, above the belt line for males. We can implant testosterone and estrogen replacement that can last 3 to 4 months. And then we also give you progesterone to help you sleep at night. So this balances out all of your hormones. And a lot of females, they next day they're like, I'm sleeping better. I'm not as irritable as I used to. My hot flashes are gone for those that have hot flashes. So that's another misconception about females thinking that low testosterone is only for those that are in menopausal stage. Menopause starts 10 to 15 years prior to starting. So if you're considering that your menopause is going to start at age 50, most likely you will start premenopausal symptoms at age 30, 34. Okay. So a lot of females start feeling down and start gaining weight around age 34 or so.
That,
See?
yeah, that's definitely interesting, and I'm glad Trish Michelle asked that question because I know the ladies were definitely waiting to get that information because as we mentioned earlier, we're getting older and things are changing in our bodies, and there are a lot of questions that we want to ask, and that's why there's so much misinformation in my opinion because we want to ask these questions, but a lot of people are afraid to or embarrassed to ask the questions. And what people have to understand is when you go see your provider, your doctor, your nurse, or whoever you go to see, you have to be transparent with these people so they can fix the problem,
Right.
right? You're not telling Joe Blow from up the street or, just some random chick. Like you're talking to professionals that can actually help you. But in order for them to give you what you need, you have to be transparent and tell them the truth.
And that's one problem that we all encounter. Like, I have patients that I have asked, what is your medical history? And they say, I have none. But then they start, you start asking them, well, why are you taking this pill for?
Yeah.
And many people don't know. And then they're saying, well, my provider put me on this for, like, blood pressure. Okay, so you do have blood pressure issues. So it's a lot of things that I like to tell people. Just be transparent with your provider. And when you come to a wellness center, tell also your primary care provider, hey, I'm also being treated in the outside for these conditions, so they know the plan, because we all working together to help people. And if you don't tell me that you just went and got a B12 shot, let's say at another wellness place, and you come to me and you another B12 shot and you get a reaction, I'm not going to know. And then you're going to accuse me because I gave you a shot, not telling me that you already had it. So, and that's another thing that we need to get through. People need to be educated about their health and what they're taking. if you're not educated about what you're taking or your health, guess what? The primary care provider can't do nothing for you. So a lot of people will say, well, I don't like my primary care provider. They're not doing anything for me. Well, you're not telling them, and I'm not a primary care provider, by the way. But you're not telling them what really is going on, what you're doing. You could be doing something out of the street that, a neighbor told you to buy it online because this supplement is the best. And then you come to me and you're like, I don't know why I'm having mental fog, and it could be something like that, something as simple as that, but you don't think it's important to say.
Right down to those energy drinks you're drinking every day. Most people won't mention that I get coffee every morning, but that could factor into things that are happening to you or symptoms that you're having that you don't tell the doctor, and then you want to act like everything's fine, and something gets misdiagnosed or gets overlooked.
Yes,
So yeah.
definitely.
And I want to say something else too. Folks, stop listening to your friends about what they're taking and what they're doing, because everybody's body is different.
Right.
Everybody's body chemistry is different. And everything that worked for somebody else is not guaranteed to work for you. Again, that's why it's important for you to go to the professionals to get professional help. Because your homegirl telling you she been taking this medicine and it worked for her, and sadly, there are people out there who found that out the hard way, and some of them have passed away because they took something that somebody else told them to work for them, and it might have been too much for their system. Or it's a lot of stuff out here that you're allergic to that you don't know you're allergic to because you never took it before.
Yeah.
Well, there was a trend on, I guess everybody that was on Wegovy was in a Facebook group, and some people started coming out saying, "Oh, this medicine causes stomach paralysis." Okay, and I don't know if you guys heard that. And my take on that was, well, because they kept saying, well, so and so had that paralysis, she couldn't stop vomiting. Well, if you went through a real doctor, someone that will evaluate you from head to toe, this is not something that you will come to me and you say, I just want to lose weight. And I'm just, oh, here's semaglutide. Go ahead and take it. That's not a real professional, okay? A real professional is going to look at, what are you thinking? What are your thoughts? Do you have any eating disorders, for example? That's a big one. Do you have any heart issues? Do you have any nausea and vomiting issue? Any constipation issues? Those are things that we need to ask. So people that had this paralysis or vomiting nonstop, these are people that have a condition called gastroparesis. Gastroparesis is a condition that happens to people where when you eat something, how you eat something now, within 30 minutes, that is traveling down your small intestines. Well, for people that have gastroparesis, they eat something and it takes 3 to 6 hours for that food to really digest and go down.
Mm.
So the medicine like semaglutide, Wegovy, and those medicines, what they do, the mechanism of action for them is that they slow down your GI system. So when you eat something, you're going to be fuller for a longer time because it's going to stay in your stomach for a long time. So a lot of people had this miseducation too, because this person, they discovered they had stomach paralysis. Oh my gosh, the medicine is doing it. It's not the medicine, it's the way a provider is actually assessing you that needs to be taken into account.
So, Doc, if one of the things I wanted to ask is, what are some healthy supplements, healthy practices that people can actually do on a day-to-day basis? I know walking, riding a bike, exercise, but what are some other healthy recommendations that you have for the average everyday person who wants to try to remain healthy?
So NAD is one of my favorites. Okay. NAD is a full antioxidant, but it's an anti-aging. It also helps with repairing your DNA. Okay. And I think that we are surrounded by a lot of radicals. We eat a lot of foods that are really not good for us. So this is one of the supplements that I can tell you that I take myself, and he has kept me away from getting sick and all that stuff. That it really, really helps. I mean, you
And
can
it's
take.
called NAD, correct?
Yes, NAD plus, and people get it in IVs, and they get it via shots. They can take shots 2 and 3 times per week. It really helps. So anything that's antioxidant, like vitamin E, also helps. I like anything that's going to cleanse your system, cleanse your blood. People that have fatty liver, we normally recommend for them to start taking vitamin E many times, because there's been some research about vitamin E saying that it can help decrease fatty liver, when taken daily. So those are two of the supplements that I can tell you that I really enjoy.
I like that. I like
Okay.
that. I'm
Yeah,
looking that up right
definitely.
now.
Yeah,
NAD.
I already did. I'm already ahead of you, brother.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. And we because we definitely appreciate this information, because there, like I said, there's so many things that we do on a day-to-day basis that are detrimental to our bodies.
Right.
And a lot of times we don't even realize it, because of course we're creatures of habit. We
Mhm.
get used to, partaking in certain foods, partaking in certain beverages and certain activities, and we don't realize that as we get older, our body changes, our body chemistry, alters a little bit. So the same things you were doing at 25, you might not be able to continue to do those things at 45. You have
Right.
to make some adjustments. So this information is very, very useful. And I hope that people are truly listening and take heed of this information, because you're going to need it. I don't care who you are, how many weights you lift, how much you run. There are still things that you need to do along with those things in order to ensure yourself that you have a healthy life moving forward. Definitely.
Yeah, and the B complex vitamins is one important one too, especially for the bones and joints, and vitamin D, which everybody in the United States lacks vitamin D for some reason. So you can never
Not
take.
enough sun. We ain't hanging out in the sun enough. We in these offices pretty
Exactly.
much
Yeah.
all day, every day.
Yes, and more people are also lactose intolerant, so they're not really intaking milk with fortified vitamin D. So that's definitely a must go. And for my females, calcium with vitamin D. I tell a lot of people, you can even choose a couple of Tums at night. Like I do that because Tums have calcium in it. Okay, so Tums can help with fortifying your bones. A lot of females get osteoporosis, osteopenia, at a certain age, because we don't drink milk. We're not fortifying ourselves with calcium and vitamin D. So that's basically that. So calcium, vitamin D, B complex vitamins, NAD, and of course vitamin E. Those are all.
Oh, yeah, that's one of my favorites. I take a B12 supplement pretty much every week. I don't know why I don't take it every day, but I take it at least once or twice a week. The vitamin
Once
B12.
a week is not enough, buddy.
I know I need to take it, but I
No,
take other
my grandma
stuff.
used to live like when I was younger, like pre B12, 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 B12. She used to always be like, take B12. You pregnant?
Right,
Why you pregnant? Take B12, B12.
Yeah.
right.
So B12 and B complex is different, okay? Because
Okay.
the B12 is just B12. You want something that compiles all of the B vitamins like B6, 7, 8, 9, and those things, because those are the ones that are going to really fortify your bones. Now, if you're not B12 deficient, it may not be doing anything to you. And even if you go, I know we have 3 different type of B12s, okay? So when you go to a wellness center and you want a B12 shot, let's say, make sure it's methylated, okay? Because the methylated one is the one that is more readily absorbed by your body versus the other two that are more of a synthetic feel. Okay,
Hmm.
so the methylated B12 is better than just the other two. And when you're taking supplements, make sure you have a B complex that contains all of the B vitamins versus just one B complex.
Yeah, vitamin B, vitamin D, get all your vitamins, all right?
Yeah, you can tell who grew up partaking in Flintstone vitamins, and things of that nature. Because if you did, a lot of us continue to take vitamins in our adulthood because it's been a part of our lives pretty
Right.
much our whole lives. So it's something that we continue to do. So I know I have a whole shelf full of
Yeah.
full of supplements that I have regimented in my mind. That I get up in the morning, I take these. At lunchtime, I take these. So I have things that I'm trying to do in my daily life to make sure that I'm as healthy as I possibly can be.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of that, can you look slimmer?
I think I just because I'm tall. That's all it is. I mean, they say tall people look slimmer. No, no, you know what? To be honest with you, I joke about this all the time on the show, but not eating honey buns and bread products and things like that as much as I used to, and limiting a lot of intake on, like Benji was saying, sugar and things of that nature has helped tremendously. Like Benji said, getting rid of mucus, brain fog, and those type of things that I think, and again, the vitamin D because during the pandemic, a lot of us were stuck in the house, and because I
Mhm.
work from home, I have to make an effort to go outside. I have to make an effort to be active because it's easy to just be, caught in the house doing stuff and being busy here. So that's what I've been doing more, trying to move around a little bit more. So yeah, I've lost a little bit of weight.
Okay.
And a lot of people don't realize that by eliminating certain things that you do every day, you can lose weight without having to
Yes.
any of these medicines. I have had patients that they just stopped drinking sodas and they dropped 10 pounds.
Right.
You know,
Say, that's true because I stopped having football season is over and then tequila shots stopped a little bit, and no, it's true
Hey,
though. And the ones that some of my friends that I noticed that are still drinking like on a higher end of like, they still got their little pot bellies. I'm like,
mhm.
hey, I know for a fact it is because going off of sodas, I'm a Dr. Pepper fiend. And yeah, but no, taking that out, it's just amazing. If you pay attention to your body, it'll tell you some things. Just visit your doctor, talk to your doctor as well for sure. But some things your body's just telling you on a day-to-day basis, like, yo, like you get a reaction every time you eat that. You probably shouldn't eat that anymore, or at least take it out of your diet. Don't eat it so much. And so I just noticed that again with just taking sodas out of my diet. Like I'm kind of shocked that I don't have the sniffles and the stuff like I used to have before. So
Yeah. And have you noticed other people too that they start sweating after they're eating or while they're eating?
mhm,
And they're like, I don't know why I'm sweating. I'm always sweating. That's not normal. Okay.
right.
yeah,
So
no, not normal.
that's not normal. But people just show it off as maybe, the food was too hot or whatever, and it's just not.
Maybe over here like
Ooh,
it was spicy.
brother
No,
got
no, no,
that
no.
brother got that gastric something going on because he's sweating out the meat already. He ain't did no work.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, Anna, I think you've given us a wealth of information, and
Yes.
you've given the audience a great start, on their journey, their fitness journey, the wellness journey, or whatever they choose to do to try to improve their lifestyle. Before we wrap up, we just want to give you an opportunity to leave the audience with last thought or some, a piece of information that maybe we haven't talked about yet, and then also let them know where they can find you on social media.
Well, I think that if you haven't worked in a hospital, like if you're not a nurse or whatever, you probably don't get to see a lot of sick people. And I have, in over 25 years, I have gotten to see very, very sick people. And I have gotten to work in places where, places that have been very poor. Okay. And in all the places, like in Maryland that I worked, that were for the rich and the famous. Okay. And one simple thing that is the same in both the rich and also the poor people is health. So the rich wish they have their health back, and the poor wish that they have their health back. So if we don't take care of us, if we don't take care of our health, you know, everything that you do, your hair, your nails, whatever, that's not going to matter when you are in a hospital bed and you're dying. You know, I've seen people take their last breath, and I've seen people wish they're in the last minutes of death, and the first wish they have is, you know, I wish I can eat my favorite meal at this time, or I wish I had more time to do the things, you know, the right things. um I know that there was it's a person that's dear to me who died, and he used to say that he was going to start eating his vegetables
Mm.
because they gave him a diagnosis of cancer. He just started saying, I'm just going to eat more vegetables from now on. And he wasn't a vegetable eater, you know. So that is not the moment that we want to start thinking about our health. We want to start thinking about our health from now and making that change. Um, it doesn't matter who you are. It could be the richest to the poorest. We all want health, and if you don't have it, you don't have anything. So that's basically my live to so I'm in North Carolina, and I you know, my social media, I am on my drips is ZenDripsIV.com. That is my website where you can check out all of the services that I provide. I'm also on Facebook slash ZenDrips Wellness. So you can get more information, even if you don't have to get my, you know, my services. I always love to educate. I always like to inform people what is going on with their health, and inform them that, you know, you have to be able to be an advocate for your own health.
Right.
Okay, thank you again. Like I said, this
Amazing.
this information is for everybody. There is not one person that can't look at this and glean some information from it. So again, we are very appreciative of you taking time to come and impart your wisdom upon us. Thank you.
Yeah. Another banger. Another banger, baby.
All right. So Trisha Michelle, talk to the people, let them know something, and let them know where to find you on social media.
Well, all I could say is we're not getting younger, like we've already mentioned. And like Anna said, it doesn't take until you're 45, 50. Like these changes are happening even younger and younger. The different things they're putting in the food, the different things in the air, our lifestyle, just everything is making things happen a lot earlier in our lives. So we should definitely be thinking about health and wealth way early on, to be preventative. I think preventative is the key factor here. And I love that Anna came and gave us a lot of gems on that, because that's the most important thing. We always want to be preventative versus, reacting after the fact. Now here we are. Now we want to make those changes. Or like she said, you're on your deathbed and you wish you made those changes, and that's just unfortunate. So thank you, Anna, for giving us information and giving us some gems. And hopefully this, it got me thinking. I already told my daughter, I said, this is the year of the gym. I'm already over here taking care of my mom and picking her up and stuff. I'm like, yeah, it's time to do a little bit more for myself.
Right.
So y'all can find me at Trisha Michelle _TM everywhere. And of course, like I always say, if y'all don't follow the Fiyah Session, don't follow me. Okay.
All right, all right. Benji Banks, the man, the brand. Talk to the people.
Well, first, thank you, Miss Santos, for coming on. This was amazing, a wealth of information. As we said, health is wealth. And as Ken would say, we put the medicine in the candy tonight for sure. So thank you for an amazing show once again. But for me, just the everyday living stuff. I don't think I've ever thought about having IV drip. I just never really thought about it until I came across her information. And I think that's something, honestly, that I need to implement actually in my life on a weekly basis. And I think that would help a lot. I don't have any medical issues or anything like that. I've always been kind of the type to kind of pay attention to my health, pay attention to what my body is saying. Without the doctor's help, I let go of meat. I noticed my body years ago, when in my 30s, meat, I couldn't process meat well. So I stopped eating beef. I stopped eating pork. And so these little things, if you pay attention to your body, it'll tell you. And I'm grateful for that because, you know, sometimes you got to listen when to your body. You got to listen to the doctors, and sometimes you got to listen, but you also have to implement. So I'm grateful that we have the information here, but get to implementing a lot of these things that was discussed tonight. And y'all know where to find me. Pretty much every day you can find me at my beauty supply store. Y'all can pull up on that. Harlem Night Sip and Paint event is coming up. A lot of great things going on there. And come check us out. We're trying to add to our private practice and get some more counselors and therapists on. So if you're in that profession and you want to check us out, we got a job for you. Come by and holler at us. And you can find me on Facebook, social media, Instagram. You can't miss me. Benji Banks. You can't miss this face, you know. So
all right, y'all. Y'all can catch me at Big Ken on Fire on all social media platforms. Y'all can also catch me on Facebook at just plain Big Ken, and you can also catch us on the Fiyah Session. Just go to any social media platform and type in FIYAH, and we will usually pop right up. Make sure you go to YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button, and make sure, most importantly, you hit that little bell notification. So anytime we go live or post new content, you'll be the first to know and you'll get that information. Again, we're very happy to present to you all tonight. Anna, she came through with a wealth of information. You all, if you missed out on this episode, go back and look at it.
yes.
Get that information, get your notepad out, take some notes, go to wherever you get your vitamins and supplements from. Try to help yourself out and be, as preventative as possible. And if you're in the North Carolina area, you better look Anna up and get there and get you some ZenDrips because you definitely need it. You definitely
turn
need
off the lights.
Or even if you're not out there, she said you can contact her and she will answer questions. So if you want to know a little bit more to know exactly where to do your research in your hometown, you can still reach out to her.
Fellas, don't be in her inbox wilding out. We ain't got, listen, y'all be nice, all right? Be nice. Don't be playing games, all right? This business.
All right. Well, yeah, definitely business. Definitely business. Well, again, we appreciate our special guest for joining us. Y'all already know how we do it. Next week we'll be back with another live episode and some current events and a very, very interesting topic. So make sure you tune in and keep rocking with us and follow us on all our social media platforms. Y'all know how we do it. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. We appreciate the support. It's the Fiyah Session. Peace.
Deuces.
Thank you for joining us today. Please follow us on all social media platforms. Just search Fiyah Session.